All right, a 6-foot sub values at $35 is divided among 5 players. Using the last diminisher method, we're going to do this again. All right, same situation here. So I would actually encourage you take a moment now that we just did the one up above, pause this video, try it out, and then hit play to see if we're on the same page. Okay. Hopefully you paused. If not, can't do anything about it. So let's talk about what a fair share is. We are now having a 35 total dollar divided among 5 people again. So a fair share is going to be $7 worth. That's now the magic number that we're looking for as we go through this chart, as we continue through the process. Player 1 cuts a piece to what they feel is $7. That's just how it starts. We look at player 2 now. Pass or trim. Player 2 is going to pass. 350 is too small. Player 3 is going to trim. And they're specifically going to trim to $7. It was worth $7.75. Wait for my writing to catch up. It was worth $7.75 when it got to player 3. They have to trim down to what they feel is a fair share. So they're not last in line. They trim it down to $7. All right, player 4. I swear I wrote on the page. So hopefully that will come up soon. Player 4, when it gets to them, there we go. It says it's too small, right? 650 is too small. So player 4 is going to pass. And now we're at player 5. All right. Player 5 is the last in line. So player 5 looks at this piece and says, oh, that's worth more than a fair share to me. But since he's last in line, he gets to trim, but not all the way down to a fair share. Like when it's made it through the whole line and you are now at the very end, you can flick off a little sesame seed. You could take off one little crumb. All right. And that's technically a trim. So trim, but barely anything. And the reason this is allowed, think about this situation. If you were with friends and you were doing this process physically in front of everyone, you don't have to say out loud, oh, I'm not trimming down to what I think is a fair share. But if every single person down the line has either trimmed to their minimum or passed, they're not going to be upset that you're taking the smallest possible piece, because it's going to start back over and the people who had trimmed previously are going to be able to do it again. All right, it's going to have that situation where it's now done the whole line down and you're the last up. So if you take something even the tiniest bit smaller than what was given to you, it looks smaller than what everyone else was okay with. All right, so that's really kind of how it works. Since it was the last person that got to trim here, they trimmed, but barely anything. So player 5 does get this at the very end. The last player in line gets to keep it, but it's not worth the minimum $7. Because they barely hit off a little sesame seed, maybe it's a fraction of a penny. All right, it is essentially $8 worth because they barely changed anything about it, and that's how much it was worth when it got to them. Right, so only when the last player keeps it can it possibly be worth more than a fair share. You'll see our last example, it was worth a fair share because someone in the middle had to trim down to a fair share and then everyone else passed. So those are really our two examples, 2 things that we could ask you to present and exemplify that you understand the last diminisher concept. So give those a go in the homework. Hopefully they go a little smoothly. If you need help, always reach out. And yeah.